Hey there everyone, what's up? Today I'm going to do a video. It's not really a review or impressions, it's just kind of talking about some games that bring me back. And I say bring me back in a sense that not like it brings me back to a reminiscing time, but games that I've played through and beat and put away. But for some reason I keep going back to them. I want to play them through again, or I just like the mechanics of the game, or I just want to play it more, even though I've technically already completed it. So I'm gonna start by talking about a couple of games or series or whatever that I just bring me back. I just keep coming back to. So the first thing I'm going to talk about here is a series that I'm still playing a lot. Out of this series, I've probably beaten it about 5 times this month. So, and that was after about I don't know, 3 or 4 month break where I didn't play at all, and now I'm back to playing again. And that series is this. This is Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and an extra Dark Souls on the end. So I have Dark Souls on the PS3, Dark Souls on the Xbox 360, plus the DLC, and Demon Souls on the PS3. And this month alone, I've beaten Dark Souls twice and Demon Souls 3 times. And it's a kind of series that I know a lot of people love it, and I do too. But it's one that I started out not loving. I started out thinking like I didn't get it. I think is really what it is. I didn't think it was bad, and I thought like it's difficult, but it's not like so painful or anything. I just wasn't having fun with it. I think there was like some mechanics to it I just didn't get. And what happened was when I this is like my initial like 4 hours of playing or whatever, and I'm thinking like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna continue with this. It's not incredibly fun. And then what happened was somebody invaded me, and I was, and it was like the first time I had been invaded. You know, I'm playing blind. Like I didn't look up anything about the game before playing, and I'm playing blind, and some dude invaded me, and just I'm like standing in front of the gate, like changing my weapons and stuff. So what happened is like I'm changing my weapons, getting ready for a boss battle, and then suddenly I'm like being backstabbed. And what happened is like afterwards I got a message from the guy, and he was like, oh, sorry, uh, you didn't move at all, so I think maybe you weren't paying attention. And I was like, yeah, I didn't even know what was going on. I was like switching weapons, and then all of a sudden I was dead. Like he summoned behind me, right behind me, like when he came in. So, and I was like, yeah, I've never had that happen to me before. Like I've never been invaded, so I don't really know what's going on. And this is just random. Some random dude sent me like a chat invite, and I joined his chat, and he's explained to me the system. I think like how PvP and co-op work, and how some basic things about the game that I was unclear about. And I thought like not only did I think like that made the game more fun, but the idea that the community like of the game was that kind of community, like a helpful one, was something that really even though he joined my game to kill me, he still went out of his way to tell me about stuff in the game, and tell me about the mechanics. So I from there I just fell in love with the game. I just couldn't stop playing it. And still, um, another point about the game is that it's so incredibly flexible. You get these games and you create your character, and you can build them or base them around anything you like. So you want a fast character, you can use fast weapons and light armor and be fast. Or you want a heavy hitter, you can use heavy armor and giant weapons. It's and beyond that, that's just like a basic choice. You can build characters based around one concept. This character only uses fist weapons, or this character only uses one type of axe or whatever through the entire game. Or you can play with different kinds of kind of self-made challenges, like I'm going to play through at level 1, or I'm going to try to do a base weapon run or something. It's full of, basically it's only limited to what your kind of imagination can give you, and that's the kind of thing that brings me back every time I feel like playing a game that's kind of dark. I mean, it's in the name, Dark Souls or Demon Souls. It's I always I always think of a new challenge I want to give myself. This month actually, I played through Demon Souls as someone who uses only the hands of God as their weapon. So it's a bit of a challenge that way. So you have a lot of different options, and that's the kind of thing that keeps me engaged for long, long time. And it's a challenging game overall, so it's a good thing. So that's Demon Souls, Dark Souls, good stuff. But other than that, that's a good series. But I'm going to talk about something entirely different now. Another game that brings me back to it is, and this is a Wii game, so you might be a little surprised. It's a Wii game, but this is the game right here. This game is Sheeran the Wanderer, or Furai no Shiren 3, I guess, but in the English title is Sheeran the Wanderer only. There's no 3 after it. This is the Japanese version, so you could see the 3 clearly. But this is a roguelike. It's from a well-regarded series. It's part of the Mystery Dungeon series, but Sheeran is like, out of the Mystery Dungeon series, almost every game is some kind of licensed character. It's Pokemon or Dragon Quest or whatever. But for Mystery Dungeon, Sheeran is his own character. He's the Mystery Dungeon guy. Everyone else is a licensed character. Besides that, Sheeran is the only one. So Sheeran, originally it starts on the Super Famicom, and there's an N64. Number 2 is on the N64, and number 3 came out on the Wii. And as I said, it's a roguelike, so it means something about the game that makes it infinitely replayable is that the stages are, for the most part, random. I'd say that because some stages in this one aren't, but that the vast majority are randomly generated, so you can play through it multiple times and not feel like you're retreading old ground. It's kind of the beauty of a roguelike is that it's different every time. So if you like the mechanics of a game, you can just play it over and over again. But I have many roguelikes. Why am I picking Sheeran? Because Sheeran has interesting characters. You can have people join you, and you have somewhat of a story that's at least interesting and gives you some interesting mechanics to think about. And the series itself is really well put together. I really like how the world works in this game, and the kind of character interactions you have. So even though each dungeon is different, the story is essentially the same no matter what you do. So you get that kind of familiarity about it, but you also have something new every time. And as a roguelike, as opposed to just a normal rogue, I guess, there's no real story, and you don't have anything beyond the goal of not dying. Whereas this has that same goal, but it also has a kind of charm to it. The graphics are like they're like 2D, I guess I'd say. They're not actually, but it reminds me of the Super Famicom graphics, even though it's obviously much better looking. But yeah, Sheeran the Wanderer 3 on the Wii. If you can find it, it's probably cheap. Play this. It's good. If anything, it'll give you a reason to use your Wii. It's probably one of the only reasons I still use my Wii. So, Sheeran the Wanderer 3. Next, we're going to talk about something else here. And this is a game that maybe I don't talk a lot about my like for this type of game, but I do play it a lot. And not recently, but, of course, I'll be back to it eventually. And that is Super Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 4. I have both. And I have the arcade edition also. But not a disc. I just downloaded it. But this is Super Street Fighter 4, and Super Street Fighter 4 is a game that I really got into. I played it a lot with friends in the beginning, and essentially we play for fun. It's not like we're not incredibly competitive, but we have like a kind of group of people who are relatively close in skill, so it's easy to get together like 4 or 5 friends and just build a lobby and play in between each other in a kind of friendly battle. I'm actually a little better than all of them, so it's probably more fun for me. But um, for Street Fighter 4, I'm not a huge solo player. I don't play a lot online against random people anymore. But if I have friends who are ever say, let's play Street Fighter 4, I'm always down. I love Street Fighter 4. And, for a while I was playing online a lot. I was ranked about 38th in the world was my highest ranking for as a character. Let me preface that. I mean, I wasn't ranked total 38th in the world. I was ranked 38th in the world as Dan. So I was a high ranked Dan player for a while online. I haven't gone back for a long time though, so I'm probably not ranked anymore. But I think they delete those after a while. The rankings they reset maybe, or people will probably pass me. But my highest ranking with Dan was 38th in the world, and I used to play a lot online. And it's the kind of thing where I don't take it too seriously, so I'm just having fun. And Dan is the most fun character if you're just having fun, because he can taunt and he can knock people out of their moves with his taunt. So it's quite fun to be Dan. And I think a lot of that is the reason I come back to Street Fighter. It's fun to play if you don't get people who are too serious. And they want to have fights, and they want to fight they want to have like a challenge, but they don't want to be awful about it. And that's the kind of, I think, when I'm talking about playing games online, that's the kind of community I like. I think Dark Souls has a community like that, Demon Souls as well, and Street Fighter mostly does not. But if you play with friends or you play with people it's quite fun. So let's see, another one here, and this one I talked about before. I think it was one of the highest ranked games in one year, the year it came out, so I guess 2011. And that game is Catherine. Now, Catherine is a game that, if you haven't played it, you should play it. But, people, I think, aren't really willing to give Catherine a chance if they don't know about it. And that's a shame, because it's a puzzle game, and it looks like it's going to be a porno game, but it's not. It's not even remotely racy, I don't think. I couldn't really think of any parts where I think like, oh, that's totally like a creepy animated sex video. It's nothing like that. I mean, the story is actually quite interesting and adult, in the sense that the character himself is like a middle-aged guy. And actually, when I got the game, he was the exact same age as me. So, he's 33, and when I got the game, I was also 33. So it was kind of easy to relate. He's like mostly talking about relationship issues and getting married and being free, I guess. It's kind of thing that like adults would worry about, which is something story-wise, it like kind of was really good for me. And the story is not the reason I come back to Catherine, though, because I've played through the game about, I don't know, 12 times maybe. And, I've seen the story 12 times, so it's not really incredibly interesting anymore. But if you play through the stages and you get a gold trophy on every stage, you'll unlock the challenge stages. So the Babel stages. And when you open the Babel stages, they're randomly generated Catherine levels, essentially. And you'll find that, you can go through and it's like playing a random level of Catherine. So anytime I feel like playing a puzzle game, go back to Catherine and play one of the challenge stages. And there are 4 challenge stages. I mean, unless there's more that I haven't unlocked from um, unlocking them, I guess. But as far as I know, there's 4 challenge stages based on the levels of the game, and they get progressively harder. So you can start at the lowest level challenge stage, which is, still still not easy if you're not good at the game. But honestly, if you if you're getting the gold trophies on normal or higher to get the bonus stages unlocked, you're probably pretty good at the game. So yeah, the Babel stages definitely bring me back to Catherine a lot. And it's not like I sit down and play it all day. It's the kind of thing I can put in for half an hour and just play a bunch and then turn it off and then let it sit for a month and then come back and do it again. It's the perfect kind of short term come back and pick up and play a game, which is something that's great. And the fact that it's dark and somewhat goofy but interesting, it's really kind of probably one of my favorite games actually from this gen. So yeah, Catherine is something you should definitely play if you haven't already. Shame on you if you haven't. Seriously. Okay, and the last ones I'm going to talk about here are games, also games I've talked about a bunch. But they are it's probably my favorite game series of almost all time. I'd say probably all time. Probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite game series. I won't lie. This is Fallout. Here's Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. This applies to Fallout 1 and 2 as well, but Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. I've probably beaten each of these games, I don't know, 8 or 9 times. And, these are like some of the few games that I actually went through and got all of the achievements on, including all the DLC achievements, everything. 100% everything on these games. And the bonus for Fallout is very similar to the reason I come back to Dark Souls. Dark Souls, as I said, allowed me to create characters and challenges based on the characters I was creating. Fallout does that as well. So every time I play through Fallout, I pick a theme for my character. So maybe it's in Fallout 3, it's a karma theme. So maybe I'll play as like lawful good or something, and I can't steal things from people's houses and I can't attack random people, and it's the kind of thing like it's a strict good alignment. Or maybe it's weapon based, so I'll only use fist based weapons, or I'll only use melee weapons, or only laser guns. It's the kind of thing where it's like kind of a self-imposed challenge on the system, and sometimes makes you'll find like ways to make it really easy, and sometimes you'll find ways that are ridiculously challenging. And it's the kind of thing that really draws me into the game. Not only that, unlike Demon Souls and Dark Souls, where the worlds are not incredibly huge, Fallout has a huge and interesting world that's kind of, I want to say, the kind of thing that you can wander around in and find random little things that aren't really story related but are interesting anyway. And as many times as I've played through Fallout, I usually play through again and find something I'd never noticed before. A certain arrangement of furniture or something that makes a kind of goofy joke that I never picked up, or a location that doesn't have any items but is kind of an interesting space and maybe tells a story by its location only. That's the kind of thing that really brings me back to the world, because I really like the world of Fallout. It's the kind of perfect post-apocalyptic fantasy world. It's as far as kind of these post-apocalyptic worlds go, Fallout is probably unparalleled. I can't think of one that's better, and I can't even think of one that's even on par, unless we're talking about, I guess, Wasteland, which is essentially what Fallout is based on. So yeah, that's about it. These are 5 series games that bring me back just due to the type of game they are, I guess. And so yeah, if you guys out there in YouTube land have some games that bring you back, and like I said, I only did current gen stuff, I guess, because if we were talking about retro games, we'd be here all day, and this is already 20 minutes. So we, but you feel free to answer this in any way you like. Use retro games, use whatever type of games you like. Just games that draw you back in, even though you've finished them, you've beaten them, you've pretty much taken it to the logical limit of the game, yet you still want to come back and play again. If you have any games like that, please list them below, make a video response. I don't know if there's video responses anymore, but you can post a link to the video in the comments too. I think that works. So either way, if you have any, feel free to respond. And that's about it. So I guess I will see you guys next time.